Hey guys, welcome back to Carsoni. Means today we're going to be going over all the games that happened for Sunday for week 14. If you're looking for a Thursday night recap, I actually don't know if I did one this week, but I will be doing a Monday night recap, and I normally do Thursday night recaps every Friday. But this is just the games that happened on Sunday and Sunday night. So we're going to go ahead and get started with some of the earlier games. As in Texans versus Bears, I expected this to be, the Texans going out there and, Deshaun Watson showing what he can do against this Bears defense and, them getting back on track. And I know they were already 4-8, but I thought, maybe they could end the year with a bang, maybe. And then the opposite happened. The Bears beat them 36-7. The Bears looked really, really, really good out there. I mean, they scored 30 points in the first half and just kind of coasted throughout the second half and shut out the Texans in the whole second half. Deshaun Watson, he actually had a pretty good game. I think he had over 100 quarterback rating, which we're seeing every single week now. But it's just the team that's around him cannot support him, and they are collapsing. They really collapsed a while ago, but it is so sad to see how well Deshaun Watson is playing, only to get, absolutely destroyed by a team like the Bears. But yeah, the Bears get a win. They bump to 6-7. They keep their playoff hopes a little bit alive, but really it's kind of over for them. They kind of need to win out, which I guess they could technically do if they, are able to drop 36 points on the rest of their teams that they play. Then, there's definitely still a chance for the Bears. The Texans, though, it's basically over. Next up, Cowboys, Bengals. Cowboys have had a couple of rough weeks before this one, but they completely bounced back here. They beat the Bengals 30-7. It was a complete demolishment. The Bengals just could not get anything done on offense, which has been something that we've seen these past couple weeks ever since Joe Burrow got injured. But also their defense played a lot worse. One of the things I talked about last week was one of the few pros that I found for the Bengals is that they held the Dolphins to 19 points. Well, holding a Cowboys team that has had a horrible offense to 30 points and letting that really, really terrible defense get like 3-4 fumbles in the first half of the game against you. It was terrible. The Bengals, they're terrible. The Cowboys, they got a nice bounce back. They're 4-9. They are 3 games out of first place in the NFC East. Yes, technically they could be tied for first place in 2 games, but Washington still holds the tiebreaker over them, so they would technically need to win 3. They need to be a full game ahead. They need to have 7 wins with Washington at 6. They can't be tied because Washington holds the tiebreaker, obviously, with the 2 games that they won. Next up, Chiefs, Dolphins. The Dolphins actually were pretty good at the start and pretty good at the ending. They were up 10-0 at the beginning, and I thought, wow, this Dolphins team is going to go in there and show everybody what's up. And then they started playing badly, and then they scored 17 points in the fourth quarter. I thought maybe they could come back. They didn't. The Chiefs win a 33-27 and take over first overall seed in the AFC right now, taking it over from the Chiefs. Both teams actually played pretty well. I think Patrick Mahomes threw 3 interceptions, but that had a lot to do with the Dolphins defense just playing pretty well. And also, they did score 33 points. But really, that Dolphins defense really stood up today. And it stood up last week, too, with only allowing 7 points to the Bengals like the Cowboys did this week. But that Dolphins defense was absolutely insane this game. I know they allowed 33 points, but whenever you watch it, the 3 interceptions against a guy that had thrown 2 in the past, how many games we played at this point? The past 12 games. And making him throw 3 in one game, or even just 2. Even it's Patrick Mahomes. Intercepting Patrick Mahomes is something to celebrate, okay? Intercepting him multiple times is something that no team has done yet. I'm sorry. Next up, Cardinals, Giants. I thought that this could be one where, maybe the Giants go in there and they keep it close. I did not expect them to win, but I expected them to keep it close. I expected their defense to go in there and, show that they are a team like that they probably won't win their division this year just because, Washington's got a much easier schedule. But I definitely thought that their defense would show up in this game, and it really didn't. The Cardinals win at 26-7. Daniel Jones actually got benched towards the end of the game. It was pretty pathetic. The Giants, they got exposed. They've had a couple good weeks, and I thought, I thought it was a fluke, but then no, it had been a few weeks, and now they go into this game with a chance to, increase their lead or really just hold on to their lead in the NFC East, and they lose. They're now no longer in the playoff picture because of that loss. They lose, and they looked pretty dang bad doing it. Their defense looked horrible. Their offense could not get anything done. They got 1 touchdown in the third quarter, but that was it. Other than that, they couldn't get anything done. Anything. They didn't get, I think, the one time. I don't think they really ever got past the 50-yard line, maybe 4 times. It was terrible. Next up, Vikings against the Buccaneers. Both teams actually kind of played exactly how I expected. The Vikings defense let them down. It was a Buccaneers win here, 26-14. The one thing that I did not expect from the Vikings is Dan Bailey being absolutely horrendous. I think he missed 3 or 4 kicks that game. It was terrible. It was a terrible week for kicking in general, but for the Vikings, it was depressing. They would have been a lot closer. It definitely would have been a 1-point game, possibly within a field goal towards the end of that game. I know he at least missed 3 field goals. I'm trying to remember if he missed an extra point or whatever. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he missed an extra point too, so I think it could have actually been like a 24-26 game there. But anyways, let's not get into that. The Buccaneers did get a nice win. They bounced back. They've had some rough weeks these past couple weeks. Did not look like it in this game. They went out there firing. They're 8-5. They are hanging in there in the NFC playoff picture, and I'll be interested to see what they can do in the upcoming weeks. Next game, Broncos-Panthers. I expected this to be a game. I thought Christian McCaffrey was going to come back in this game. Come to find out, he isn't. I thought this would be a game for the Panthers to go out there and say, hey, we are not a bottom feeder. We are not what our record is. I thought they would blow out the Broncos. Well, I didn't predict that, obviously, but I had a feeling. I thought that was a possibility, but no. The Broncos went 32-27. The Panthers had a horrible game. Drew Lock had a very, very good game. The Broncos didn't actually play too well. They had a really good punt return, and Drew Lock was insane. I think he had like 110 quarterback rating. Definitely one of his best games of his young career. The Panthers, though, really, really disappointed me. That defense that has been showing up these past couple of games did not show up in this one. They fall to 4-9, and they're not looking too good. I don't think they're actually eliminated from the playoffs just yet, but they basically were eliminated a few weeks ago. The Panthers, tough loss, but we'll see. Oh, they play the Packers next week, so that one is going to be rough to watch. So the Panthers have kind of collapsed. They were 3-2 at one point now. They've gone 1-7 since then. Next game, Titans, Jaguars. The Titans went out there and they completely demolished 31-10. The Jaguars, we are seeing them get worse and worse. Definitely now really in competition for that first overall pick. At the beginning of the year, they got a nice win against the Colts, and we were all thinking, hey, maybe the Jaguars are going to be the real deal. Maybe the Jaguars are going to come out here and make the playoffs somehow. Cutting now a 12-game losing streak, and it was terrible. Derrick Henry had a massive game. I think he had over 200 yards and a couple touchdowns. Derrick Henry is a beast. In my opinion, he's the best running back in football. Who knows? I mean, it could also be Christian McCaffrey, but he's not healthy right now. The Titans, though, dominant, win 31-10. The Jaguars, they benched Mike Glennon for Gardner Minshew. So we're going for full circle at this point. We've seen Jake Luton, I'm pretty sure that was his name. I don't exactly remember. We've seen Mike Glennon, and now we're seeing Gardner Minshew come out here again. So the Jaguars are really just need a tank. They really just need a tank. Sorry, I can't speak. Next game, Colts Raiders. The Colts, their offense played insane. 44-27 beat down of the Raiders. It was close there until the fourth quarter. Then the Colts outscored them 17-7 and took the nice win here. Well, I think it was a 17-point win, and it was terrible for the Raiders. The Raiders, I think we saw last week they barely beat the Jets. The week before that they got blown out by the Falcons. This is the second time in the last 3 weeks where the Raiders have gotten blown out completely. Now definitely it was only a 17-point loss for them, and not a 37-point loss like it was that other game, but still, it's not looking too good for the Raiders' playoff hopes right now. They're 7-6, which is not spectacular, and the fact of how good the AFC is going and how bad. I mean, they're on a downward slope. It's not looking too good. A few weeks ago, they were 6-4. Everyone was saying they're going to make the playoffs. Not anymore. Next game, Packers-Lions. The Lions kept it a lot closer than I expected. The Packers still got the win, though, 31-24. The Lions, I expected this to, see them collapse. Their offense has looked horrible this whole season. I expected it, to flop again, but it really didn't. They kept it close in this one. They stepped up their game, trying to pull something off, trying to bump up to 6-7, and maybe keep their hopes alive. But they dropped down to 5-8. And yeah, the Lions season's over. Aaron Rodgers had a monster game. He played it really, really well. So did this whole Packers offense, this whole season. The Packers jump up into the first overall seed in the NFC. So congratulations to them. They're 10-3. The Lions 5-8. Let's move on to the next game. Saints against the Eagles. The Eagles got a surprising underdog win here, 24-21. They actually had to make Taysom Hill and the Saints come back. It was 17-0 at halftime, and then they got outscored 17-7 in the second half, but it wasn't enough. The Eagles get the win, and I think we can now see that Carson Wentz was the problem. All these people out there saying like, oh, Doug Peterson's screwing them. Oh, this whole team's terrible. You put in a rookie quarterback who's competent and can move around with the football, and we are seeing how good they can be. They went out there, and that offense played really, really well. Now, it also is helped by the fact that the Saints defense couldn't tackle this game, and also that Taysom Hill had another rough game. He didn't play too well, especially in that first half when they got shut out. Really, it was a good game by Jalen Hurts. This is coming from a Washington fan, but I think if they had started Jalen Hurts a few weeks earlier, if they had started him 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think they would be in serious contention for the NFC East, if not in the lead right now. They do technically still have a chance, and it's not too much of a long shot. They just need to win. I don't know. They knocked the Saints out of the top seed, and they did just beat the Saints. So right now, the way I'm seeing it is they just need to win 2 more games. It's a weird scenario. I'm not going to go through it. But the Eagles fans, I would not be completely let down. Really, I thought it was just Washington and the Giants, but with the Giants playing badly this last week, and with the Eagles playing like a really, really good team, and with Alex Smith, he did get some kind of injury in his leg. I don't know. The Eagles looking kind of dangerous right now. It is, in all, realistic probably, over for them. But Eagles fans can hope. I'm a Washington fan, so I definitely hope that they don't. But still, next game, Falcons Chargers, the choke fest as I call it. The Chargers got the best of the Falcons, 20-17, with a last-second field goal as the Falcons choke away their 17-10 lead, which isn't a big lead, but you still like to. It's the 2 teams that choke like every single game. I'd like to. I kind of hope that we'd see a team get off to a big lead and see another team take back that lead and then see like a last-second touchdown to win by 1 or something. Well, that didn't happen. Matt Ryan, terrible, horrible, no good game. One of the worst games I've seen from him in a while. I don't know what else I can say. Like a 50 quarterback rating, but it was really worse. It was only close really because of how terrible that Chargers team is. Justin Herbert, it's kind of like how the Bengals were. It's kind of like how the Texans were. The quarterback is the only good part of this team, especially this offense. And I said how the Bengals were because Joe Burrow was actually kind of keeping them up. He was the reason that they won the 2 games. He was the reason they got that tie. But the Chargers, they fall to 4-9, and things are just looking worse and worse and worse. Next up, Washington 49ers. Washington gets a win here, 23-15. Like I said, Alex Smith got an injury. I'm pretty sure it's nothing bad. I think I actually saw something that if things had started to turn bad for Washington, like if the 49ers had scored a last-second touchdown and tied it up with like 2 minutes left to go, that Alex Smith could have actually gone in there and played. But it was just because, he got some kind of like strain or something on the leg that he broke in 2018, and they did not want to injure that. I want to go on a rant here. I know I said I'm a Washington fan, but I'm trying to keep it short. The huge change that we're seeing in Washington from a few years ago, I know it's been a while now, but when RG3 was in there and he got injured and then they put him back in there and then he got, completely destroyed. And now we're seeing Ron Rivera. He goes up in there and, they're not playing too well. They put Dwayne Haskins in their second half and he was horrible. He was terrible. He showed, there were a lot of Washington fans out there that were still saying that they thought that Dwayne Haskins should start. They didn't care if they were undefeated with Alex Smith. They wanted to see Dwayne Haskins go and start, and they wanted to see what they had with him. Well, they kind of had their chance there. Dwayne Haskins kneeled at the end of the second half and kneeled at the end of the first half and played the whole second half. And really, it was a terrible, terrible game by Dwayne Haskins. He's showing exactly why he got benched. The Washington defense, though, elite. 2 defensive touchdowns. Chase Young had one of the best games we've seen by a rookie defensive back in a while. Not defensive back, defensive lineman. I think he's defensive lineman. I'm not sure. Best front 7 player we've seen in a while. And yeah, he's playing lights out. The Washington football team is now first in the AFC East and back in the playoff picture. They play Seattle next week, so it's kind of iffy, but who knows. The 49ers will fall to 5-8, and their playoff hopes are basically done. Next up, there was a Sunday night. I'm sorry if that was really confusing. It was kind of confusing for me too. Next, we got the Sunday night football game: Steelers-Bills. Steelers got completely exposed. They were going up against one of the best teams in the AFC. They needed to win this one. I know they were 11-1, and with the Dolphins' loss, I mean, things were looking really good for the Steelers at this point. And they just needed to get the win. They needed to get the statement win. They needed to show everybody that, hey, we had a rough loss against Washington last week, but that was just a fluke. We're going to go out here. We're going to go 14-2, 15-1. We're still going to be at the top of the AFC at the end of the year, and we are going to be a powerhouse. And then they go up against the Bills, and they get crushed 26-15, but their offense just couldn't get anything done. They had a couple interceptions. That Bills offense didn't actually play really, really well, but the Bills defense was dominant and was lights out and did not let the Steelers get anything done. It was it seemed like a blowout as you were watching, and mainly because I'm pretty sure most of the country will always be rooting for the team that's playing the Bills. But the Bills went out there and got a nice win. The Bills are now only one game behind the Steelers. It's insane to see how the Steelers have kind of collapsed recently. Now, I mean, their division is in question if the Browns win tonight, which stay tuned for the recap tomorrow on that game on my channel. But if the Browns win tonight, they'll only be one game out of first place, and I mean, it's looking pretty rough for the Steelers. They could end up being a wild card team. I would not be surprised to see them go 12-4. Just saying, but that is not going to do it just yet. I have one more segment left. I have yet to get any feedback on this. It's a new segment. I've only done this past 2 weeks. I really like doing it. It's really fun. It's something completely different that has to do with me shooting basketball hoops, but just wait. It's going to be like 10 minutes for me, but it's going to be like a second for you. Wait. Alright guys, so here is what I'm going to do. So I have over here written down the teams that have clinched the playoffs this week and the teams that have been eliminated. And I didn't want to do something boring and sit down and just say, oh, well, this team's been eliminated, this team's been clinched. I feel like that's just something big. This is some big news. I know a lot of times, when the Jets were eliminated, no one really cared. But there's a lot of fans out there who probably don't know their teams have been eliminated or clinched. And I just think, something to celebrate, so I do something stupid. And I go like, oh, it's this team. And if I said, oh, the Jets or whatever, and I shoot, of course I'm not going to do the Jets in this video, because I did them in a few videos back. But some teams have gotten eliminated, and a few teams have clinched. So let's go through them. So we're going to start off with the Pittsburgh Steelers. If I make this, that means that, ta-da, the Steelers, there's no way they missed the playoffs. Let's go. So he shoots, and they score. They got into the playoffs. The Steelers, they lost, but since the Dolphins lost their game against the Chiefs, that clinched their playoffs for them. I think they needed like 3 or 4 different teams to win out and then to lose out. And at least one of those teams won this week. So, yeah, you get to watch the fat boy dunk some more. But next team, we have the Houston Texans. Did they somehow clinch the playoffs? Are we going to see Deshaun Watson carry this team to the playoffs again? Or did they fail? Are they done? Well, here we go. This is going to get more mysterious when we get to week 16 and 17 and you really don't know. But here we go. The Texans, they shot for the playoffs and they completely failed. They're 4-9. Terrible, terrible, terrible. They're going to have to do some massive rebuilding over this offseason. And the last team that clinched... No. It's a secret. You don't know. The last team is the Packers. Did they clinch? Or did they get eliminated? Is Aaron Rodgers going to be playing in January? Or are we only going to see Aaron Rodgers in January by watching his State Farm commercials? Let's see. He shoots. And he scores. The Packers are going to the playoffs. I don't know why I'm talking like this and not like this. But the Packers are going to the playoffs. And yeah. I'm so good. But that's it. Those are the 3 teams. So as of right now, off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure it's the Jets, Texans, Chargers, Bengals, and a few other teams that have been eliminated. And it is the Saints, Chiefs, Steelers, and Packers who have clinched. I should really start writing that stuff down. I only have this week's stuff. I should start writing all of them. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're watching this little segment, please let me know if you like it, because it's really, really fun for me to make it. I don't know how fun it is for you to watch it which is why I would like it. If you're watching to this point, just let me know. Do you enjoy this? Do you want me to just cut it out entirely and just say, all right, and now let's see. The teams that clinch the playoffs this week are, and read them out. And here are the teams that eliminated. I won't be like completely boring, but I like this a lot better. If you find it confusing, just let me know, please. I have gotten zero feedback on it. I think I had one that got 50 views. Not 50, I don't know. Please give me feedback.